back to the FanTEAsy Podcast, where two besties spill all the delicious tea on the books we read. I'm Callie, and my bestie is Montana.
We are so excited to be continuing our deep dive into the Fourth Wing series. We are dividing the book into 8 sections, and each episode we're diving into characters, world building, dragons, signets, and even some fan theories. So please take note and prepare to enter Basgiath War College.
It isn't that easy to get into the writer's quadrant. First off, this is a full deep dive and breakdown of Fourth Wing. If you have not read all of the books, please go and finish and rush back here. We will be discussing all of the Empyrean series in each episode, even if we are just covering a few chapters per episode. That means that we will probably say things that don't necessarily happen in the selected chapters for that episode. We say this because we are human and sometimes our mouths work faster than our brains. Things will come out and we do not want to spoil anything for anyone if you have not read both books yet.
Along with not wanting to spoil the journey of the story, please note that we are adults. We are going to be having adult conversations. We're going to be swearing. There's graphic content like murder.
Muck-duck.
So just note this episode is rated R, and if you do like our content, please remember to follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our channel, like our videos. Also, if you want to keep seeing our content, please leave us a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Help our journey grow and algorithm to keep algorithming.
Keep algorithming. Please. Thank you. We appreciate you all being here and listening and being a part of the FanTEAsy Podcast. It has been such a fun journey, and we want to keep doing it and hanging out with you. So thank you. And now, my favorite part. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
Yes. And now we get to do my favorite and just get into it. All the things about this episode. Each chapter, this episode, we're covering chapters 7 through 11. We get a little bit of Violet training, the gauntlet, entering presentation day, and more Zaddy, which is the best part.
More Zaddy. More, please.
More Zaddy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh my
So
gosh.
Normally we start our episodes with what era we put the book in. Obviously, we discussed that last episode, so we're just going to go with what era are you in personally?
Folklore. I'm feeling very, like melancholy, moody. I don't know. It's like windy and cloudy today, so I'm just gonna like meh.
Meh.
What era are you in?
I love it. I'm the opposite. It's like same temperature as it is there, but it feels warm. So it's like 60 degrees, and I'm in a lover era. Cruel summer. I'm just here.
You're just never in a lover era, so that's so funny to me.
It's like the most random era for me. I am not 100% ever in it. The other day I was in an Evermore era, and that was a shift. I almost didn't know how to feel about it.
I've never ever heard you tell me you're in Evermore. That's news to me.
Super news. And I was 100% like, I don't know, like curled in a ball on the couch, just wanting to read and like had it blasting. And I was like, yeah, this feels like the mood.
Just Evermore.
It was so good though. I love it.
I love that for you. I mean, honestly, any Taylor Swift era is a good era, so I can't complain.
They're all good eras. And I'm just in my reading era and apparently now podcast era, which is like the funnest era.
We are in our pretty bookish girl era.
I have really embraced pink lately, and I feel like it's also really strange. Who am I? I don't even know.
Oh my gosh. No. What? Pink?
I know. I don't know. It's like the purple's always, dark green always. But pink lately, I'm like, I think I need that in pink.
But I mean, okay, so our friend Allie has her bookish clothing line that she sells, and it's amazing. It's called Bookish
Yes.
Dreamers. You shop Bookish Dreamers on Instagram, and she has the cutest pink line, and like it's a like shirts and hats, and it's like probably reading SJM. You need it.
I
It's
need that
pink,
one.
and you need
That's the
it.
that was the one we were talking about this week, and I think that's part of the. I'm like, I don't know. There's a different color. I think there's a white version, and I was like, no, but the pink.
Yeah.
I don't know why I need it. I just is screaming cruel summer, and I need it. And also, just the fact that her stuff is one bookish, but also Taylor Swift. I'm like,
It's
it's made for
so
us.
on brand for the two of
It
us.
is so
It's
on
just
brand.
wild.
So placing an order immediately. Adds to cart.
Absolutely. It's
Adds
not
to
a
cart.
problem. Allie, if you're watching, we love you. Thank you for having such a beautiful shop and being a beautiful human.
I know. I'm still so sad I didn't get to meet her. Starfall. It's fine.
We're gonna make it
fine.
happen. We're gonna have a bookish bestie retreat. All of us are gonna be there, and it's gonna be great.
Yeah, please. Okay. Moving on.
Let's just
Moving
keep
on.
going and dive right into this episode.
Let's dive into
Your monologue.
chapter summary, chapter breaker. Yeah, big old monologue. Here we go.
Okay, so this has actually become my favorite segment of the Fourth Wing episodes because Callie writes the most amazing, hilarious monologues, and I haven't heard them. I have not read them. This is all real, genuine reaction. I'm hearing it for the first time, just like you're hearing it for the first time. So, Callie, please roll out the red carpet and give us this masterpiece.
Let's go. Welcome back to Basgiath. We start out in chapter 7. It has been 10 days since Violet's injury during her sparring match, and now she must find a way to eliminate her opponents without killing them, or she will very quickly become the next name read off of the death roll. She forms a genius plan to basically poison the other riders she will face in sparring by giving them hallucinogens in their food. My girl. She's always a thinker. Until Zaddy shows up and threatens to unalive her. But not tonight, he says. Gee, thanks for the vote of confidence, Zayden. We can all sleep in peace now. In chapter 8, we head to class with Professor Kaori to learn all about the giant killing machines, the dragons. In this up-close and personal class, the cadets get to see the dragons in full form thanks to Kaori's illusionist signet. We then head to the sparring gym so Violet can attempt not to die yet again. She has gone undefeated in her matches due to her poison master skills. However, today, things take a turn when her opponent is unable to step on the mat. Instead, enter the chat, Zayden Ryerson. Chapter 9. Zaddy and Violence fight it out tooth and nail on the mat to see who will come out victorious, or in this case, not dead. Violet knows she is in for a treat, but what she doesn't realize is that this match is actually a personal lesson from Zayden himself. This is hands down the sexiest match we have seen yet, and I would have loved to be a fly on the wall in that gym. Chapter 10. Gauntlet training has begun in what I can only describe as a grown-up death trap version of Nickelodeon's Legends of the Hidden Temple style obstacle course. If you know, you know. And if you don't, well, I'm sorry, your childhood sucked. Chapter 11. Gauntlet Day is here, the scariest day the cadets have faced yet. They will either succeed and walk onto presentation field, or they will fall to their death. Michael Scott refers to this as a lose, lose, lose. In other words, don't make him look bad. Now let's head back to the trees along the river outside of Basgiath campus to see what Violet is planning in chapter 7. There you go. There you have it. Today's monologue wrapped up with a bow.
So good. But also, to be a fly on the wall in that gym or to be Violet, because I mean...
I didn't want to be too presumptuous, but that's, yeah. I mean, it was
I'm going to be presumptuous. Yes, I want to be in that position.
Can you please have me by my hands pinned to a mat, like face to face. They literally describe it as like their lips were so close to touching. Like, okay, Zayden.
Like, yes, please.
I'm dead.
Okay.
I know that it only goes up from here, and I think that's like the best part is like it's just gonna keep building. But I'm like in this
I know.
particular chapter, I'm like
Clutch your pearls, women. He's coming in hot.
He's coming in. Also, it's like it's a fantasy book, and I'm just here for the morally gray man. That's it.
My favorite color is morally gray. And red flags.
I was gonna say, paint me red and call me a red flag. Oh my gosh. Okay, but also I don't know any other way to describe the gauntlet than Legends of the Hidden Temple. Like when I'm reading it and what I'm picturing, that's all it is in my head. Like nothing else.
Mine is Wipeout.
Oh, like, Wipeout. That's a good reference too. Except for that's hilarious. If it was only that bad, like you're just falling into a puddle of water. Like, oh, no big deal. I'm crying. I'm laughing so hard.
I read it, I'm just like, this is just like a deadly Wipeout course.
I wish. Oh my gosh. Oh, my heart just like had a palpitation thinking about that chapter, what happens. And I'm like, okay, it's fresh. The wound is still fresh. It's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine.
I'm fine.
I'm fine, Ross.
Don't know what
why is your voice Oh my god. And at this point, this is when people are like, okay, I've had enough, and they leave the chat.
Please just keep moving forward with the chapters. I've had enough of your stupid friendship.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
This feels like a late night episode.
For The Office. Yeah, it really does. And it's the most perfect moment for a Michael Scott quote, or not a Michael Scott quote, an Andy Bernard quote. Be like, I'm sorry I annoyed you with my friendship.
I'm sorry I annoyed you with my friendship. Oh, I love Andy. I mean, I hate to love him, but I love him.
It's a love-hate relationship.
It is, but he's just so good. I love him. Okay, moving on. Moving right along. Should we get into...
So good. And our girl Vi is in the trees. Want to give us a chapter summary of chapter 7?
I got you. Chapter summary. Chapter 7. Our favorite violent little thing is back 10 days later and planning her next genius survival tactic. This time, she is climbing trees and sneaking out past curfew to collect berries, leaves, mushrooms, and anything she can to incapacitate her opponents in the sparring ring. But Violet isn't the only one sneaking out past curfew. No. We find her mid-air, hidden within the trees, while just below are those crazy-ass marked ones conjuring up their evil plan to take over Navarre. Just kidding. They are simply asking older riders for advice on how to succeed. But at front of the conversation stands tall, dark, and handsome Zayden. And when their meeting comes to a close and the riders filter out, Violet can finally stop holding her breath. She climbs down from her post only to come face to face with Zaddy once again. This time, however, no one else is around to stop him from killing her. There you have it, chapter 7. Dun, dun, dun. Boom! I can't. This chapter is so good. It's like that up close, personal, so like in your face Zayden, and I'm like, Like every time she notices his scent,
I know.
It's, like she gets it's the creepiest thing, but I'm also like, tell me more how he smells.
Like, what cologne can I go buy right now that smells like that?
Yeah, my husband needs to smell like Zayden. Point blank, period.
So cologne shopping after this, or?
Scheduled.
I love this for us.
This episode is chaotic, I tell you. Anywho.
We're just gonna get get more chaotically unhinged as we go. It's okay.
My eye like won't stop watering from just like pure laughter right now. So
It's
I
because
love
we're
this for
funny as
us.
fuck.
Yeah, if you think we're funny, please go leave a review. Thanks.
Please tell us we're funny so we have that praise.
I honestly need it. I'm a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Can you go tell me I'm funny? Thanks. Oh my god. All right, tell me your notes. Tell me your damn notes already, lady.
Well, I like that it starts with the excerpt about the marked ones, how they're not supposed to be gathering in more than groups of 3. We addressed that in the last episode, and then here we have a whole group. It says over 24. So
over 24,
we've got
literally
nearly 30 riders of all marked ones, and Violet's like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to report this, and she's like, no, just kidding. They're kind of having a little get together, how you doing, check-in moment. No, they're not doing anything wrong. I'm not gonna say anything because they don't deserve to die for that. So I think, it's interesting that they have these rules, but Violet, no matter what, she's like, I am who I am, and you know what? Even though it's against the rules, I'm not reporting you, and what you're doing is against the rules. You're not wrong. So I'm still gonna be a good person and keep Zaddy's little secret.
I like that she like does mentally contemplate it too. It kind of just shows like, again, like she's just this smart little witty thing, and she's like, but they're not doing anything. They're just here asking for advice. And I wish someone in my wing gave a shit to like look after me. And that's not happening.
Yeah.
Like, and then this is like in her little tally checkbook, like Zayden, point. And I love it because it's like she doesn't want to like him and she acknowledges it, but she's still like, all right, he's not that bad. And I'll give him a point for that. And I conniving. I'm like, yes.
I will say it's interesting noticing it when you do a reread. She sees that the patch of grass that she's above is just oddly trampled, which obviously is indicating that these meetings they have been happening. So it's not a first and foremost, like this is a constant thing, and they're really trying to keep the children of the rebellion together, which is so cool that they're actually doing that.
Yeah. And I think they know too, like without each other, they would have a lesser chance. And they already know that they're kind of the target at the school. So they are just like working together, and it's good. I mean, it's Imogen, of course. The conversation that they're having is like super basic. And she's like, okay, I'm not going to do anything. And then all of a sudden she hears Imogen pipe up and she's like, so when do we get a killer? And then you're kind of like, okay, so now what do you do? Now you're conflicted of, should I tell because it's me or them? But also she ultimately just decides like they're not doing anything. It's not worth me tattling. And Zayden's just like, don't worry about her. I'll take care of her. Okay,
yes,
what does that mean? Yeah.
Yes, you will. I will say it's really cool though, because Garrick actually kind of comes to Violet's defense. Imogen's like, her mother is responsible for the execution of my mom and sister. I should have done more than just snap her shoulder. But Garrick chimes in, he's like, her mom is responsible for the capture of nearly all our parents, not her daughter. So he's like, bitch, are you kidding? It's not Violet's fault.
Separating
this is on
the two
people.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. Like, he's kind of defending her.
Not gonna be the first time.
No, and so they part ways, and Violet's like, okay, it's safe. JK Rafflecopter, here's Zaddy waiting for her. And he is like, oh, by the way, I'm a shadow daddy. Look at my signet of shadows. I can just pluck daggers out of a tree. And
she's so naive that she's like, it was my perfume. And he's like, no, I command shadows. and I'm like, much more badass than smelling your perfume. Literally. So this is the first time we learn of his signet.
Yeah. Well, and she's
And
like
it's
hiding in
strong.
the tree. She's like, I'm moving over into the shadows. And I'm like, oh, well, duh,
Mm-hmm.
he's hiding her.
Yes. And all of those little nuances, I noticed it in like a bunch of these upcoming chapters, all the times that the shadows are mentioned. And so this is one of the first ones where,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, she's like, I'm gonna creep back here. And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, he's aware that she's there. This entire conversation, which is probably a huge
Yeah.
point to why he even brings it up, like, no, don't worry about Violet. I've got that handled.
Yeah.
And then also for him to just linger back and wait for her to climb down and then boom, sneak
Right.
attack.
Just pounce.
That
I
comes
will
later.
say
That also comes later.
we love it though. We love it. I will say it is cool because, they're when they are still meeting, let's see. Violet's in her head. She's like, am I seriously watching them debate over whether I should be punished for being Lilith Sorrengail's daughter? And Xaden
Mhm.
comes in. Don't forget her brother was Brennan Sorrengail. And he's just like totally playing Brennan off here. So I'm like, he knows that she's there. He knows what he can say because he even tells them, keep what you know, but recite what they tell you to. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, Zaddy, what does this mean? We know, but if you don't
There's
know, you'll know eventually.
also the moment where they come back in, I think, the next chapter, and what we know future, we know. If you know, you know.
I know.
And
I know
those are all
exactly
the
where you're
things.
going with this.
Okay. I mean, we've said it before. We'll say it again. If you haven't read Iron Flame, there are spoilers for that, so don't listen.
Yeah.
But literally, knowing that Brennan is later alive and that Xaden
Yeah.
is already making these sneaky, flyaways
Comments
where
and
he's
remarks.
going. Yeah, well, and yeah, the remarks, but he's literally
his
leaving
flyaways.
campus.
Yeah.
He's literally leaving
Yep.
campus and going back to Erasia, and we later learn that that's where Brennan is. And so many things. So just like these little Easter eggs that Rebecca
Yeah.
Queen has left in here at such an early point in the book is so good. It's like he's hinting at things, but he's also not flat out saying like we owe him a lot, or like he just says her brother is Brennan and leave it alone. And it's like and at this point you don't know, and it's just right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't know where her allegiance lies at this point because she's still like, oh, Navarre is home. So
True.
yeah.
That's true.
I will say we do get the infamous quote that just makes us all go
It's there.
AWOL.
It's there.
You look all frail and breakable, but you really are a violent little thing, aren't you? And you're like, yes, yes, I am.
Little thing. A violent little thing. Oh, he said it. He went there. Sadie went there. I love it.
And one thing I find super interesting is that he gives her advice on Jack. He's like, you should show Jack your little dagger throwing trick. And she's like, wait, what? You're not going to kill me. You're telling me to scare the shit out of Jack by showing him what I can do. She's confused. We're at this moment confused, but kind of turned on.
But she says it and it comes back. It's a thought later on. And I love that it sticks with her, that I just love all the italices that Rebecca puts in of like Violet's thoughts coming back, or like conversations she's had. And I love them. Like there's one at the end of this chapter that it's funny in itself. And it's not really important to the story other than it's cute and funny. But every time that something happens and it's notable, it's always italicized. And I'm like, Rebecca, what are you doing? What are you doing to us?
Why are you making me feel things?
So good. So yeah, she wraps up the chapter. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to wrap up. Yeah.
Yeah, to wrap up the chapter, she ends with Violet, a fool with Vonelly berries. And it's just like the cutest little I don't even know what you would
It's
describe
a
it
little
as,
mental
but
image.
like
She's just like this cute little girl, just like got my poison berries.
yeah, like got me a little satchel of my berries. Gonna head back to campus, but like really,
Go
you're
poison
about to
some
poison.
bitches.
Go poison them. You do you, boo. I love it. I love it. She's yeah. That's all I got.
I love
for
it.
chapter 7.
That is chapter 7.
That is chapter
We're
7.
gonna wrap that one and keep on going to chapter 8. All right, just to keep on moving forward, let's roll right on into chapter 8. What is our chapter 8 summary?
Violet is getting ready for her next class, this time with Professor Kaori. In preparation for threshing, they will learn all about the types of dragons and their temperaments. Professor Kaori is the only professor in the quadrant with the ability to project what he sees in his mind. So Violet, along with the other cadets, get to see what each dragon actually looks like and prepare to meet them in a few short weeks on presentation day. After class, Violet is headed back to the gym for her next sparring match. Now, remember, she has only been doing these for a few weeks now and has been putting her genius plan to render her opponents useless. This time, however, things don't go as planned.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. I love it.
Oh my gosh.
The end of this chapter is just like cliffhanger, and then you're just left like not left because I don't know anyone that would end this chapter and not immediately flip the page. Like
keep reading. Yeah.
Immediately. Like it's one of those when you're laying in bed and you're like, one more chapter, and then you get to end of this and you're like, fuck, never mind. One more chapter.
I have to read another one. Yeah.
Yes. I hate those. I mean, I love them, but I hate them.
There's just so much in the beginning of this chapter about Dane and how much he loves his precious rules, and he drives me crazy, right? And then Dane has the audacity, after seeing Rhiannon and Tara sneaking out of their rooms together, because we know Riri's had a thing for our girl Tara this whole time, and Dane has the audacity to ask Violet, is there a sex life I need to know about? No.
Literally. It's literally, I kind of think it's funny though, because it's like, she's here in college trying to survive these dragons and these challenges that she's put against. And then she's like worried about like her orgasm. Just in like,
I mean, who isn't?
Priorities, girl, priorities, right? Like, so it's literally the funniest thing. Like, well, at least she's having fun. Like, okay. But then this is when those italics come in, Dane's name is immediately just his name alone is in italics. And I'm like, ugh. But it's also like the hint at those feelings that Violet has for him of like, they were so close. They were, lifelong best friends. And that, I mean, she cares, obviously. And then, like, in the same sense, like, wants him romantically, too. Like, at this point, she still is like, oh, hey, Dane, like, hey, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Like, that, yeah. But fucking Dane.
And he's out here, like, his rules and the chain of command and how you don't fraternize with people outside of your gear because people are going to think you're sleeping your way to the top. Like, he has all these things, but then he's like, but Violet, like, kind of like a hint, is there anything I need to know?
Well, and it's a big fuck you, Dane, because no, it's a big fuck you. And he was in Violet's position the year prior and was intimately involved with what's-her-face. Like,
Amber.
Fuck you. Yeah, Amber. It pisses me off. Like, oh, the double standards. Again, men and their double standards. Sorry to the men out there, but
we're not.
We're not. Oh my god.
Well, and then they're still talking, and again it says Dane cradles her face, and you're just like, I just want to break something. Stop touching her.
Every single time he touches her, I'm like, it's like a just gag reflex.
I get the chills. I'm like,
yeah. And that's the struggle of like this internal battle of her still wanting him. I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. Like, sis, he's a walking red flag and not a good way. stay away.
Not the zaddy way.
Not the zaddy way, not the morally gray, he's still hot and can do all the things way. It's Dane. Like, no, just no. But then
To
they
the
go
people who have
to
read Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, if you're still a Dane girly, I'm sorry.
oh my god. Everyone that's like, he has a redemption arc. I'm like, God, I fucking hope not. It's like Tamlin and Akatar. Like, Tampon deserves no redemption.
I have feelings on that. I'm not getting into that right now.
We'll be here all night.
Yes. Yes, we will.
Don't get her started. Okay, don't get her started, guys. Okay, chill. Oh my god. But
yeah,
so then
like
they,
you said. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, like you said, we start learning more about the dragons because Professor Kaori is using his signet to show what these dragons look like, and it's just so
Mm-hmm.
interesting learning about each of them and their temperaments, and we're just kind of learning like what it means to have like the bond between the dragon and the rider and how that affects the signet. We learned so much crucial information in this chapter.
This chapter is filled with like really key details that I think when the
Yeah.
first time I read it, I just was kind of like, get to the good stuff. But like now rereading and looking at it in a different perspective, I'm like, oh my God, like these were all those hints of what's to come. And then,
Mm-hmm.
they're already talking about, well, his signet to begin with is a huge one.
Yeah.
Kaori's alone. Like as an illusionist, it's a really rare signet. It's a really powerful signet. One that, yeah, is mentioned is the only in the quadrant. And but
Mm-hmm.
so his ability to project what he's actually seeing in his mind, which is so freaking cool, actually.
I
So he's like
know, right?
physically projecting these giant dragons in front of the class, and they're like looking at him. And like when I first, I guess, imagined it, I wasn't imagining them as big as what they're actually described in the book, but like they're actually saying like, oh, it's the 6 foot, dragon. And I think that was like the red dragon. And then
Mm-hmm.
later when they bring up Tarn, and it's now this giant behemoth black dragon, it's even larger.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh my God, if you're sitting at a desk just in class and this big, huge looming dragon is hanging over you, it's like kind of intimidating. And then to think this is literally a fraction, like maybe a
Yeah.
16th, a 32nd, a 64th of their actual size. Just spitting out fractions. I don't even know if those are real, but literally, it's like to the tiniest scale of what this dragon really is,
Mm-hmm.
because he's the biggest one and he's massive, and it's like, it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy. But then they go on to talk about how there are already fewer dragons willing to bond, which was
Mm-hmm.
even fewer than the year before and the year before that. And then they kind of talk about like with the veil and why they're not willing to bond, what that could mean. And those are like the theories again of like looking ahead into like Iron Flame of, is it because those
They know.
dragons, yeah, they know what's happening, they know
Yeah.
what's outside of Basgiath. Like, I don't know, it's just always interesting to kind of think of those little Easter eggs in that
Yeah.
aspect. But I loved it. I loved it.
Well, it's so good. And they also kind of do a little bit more chatting about Sigale and how she is just ruthless. And they've said that the blues
Mm-hmm.
are ruthless and you shouldn't approach them, but that she is the rarest of an already rare species of blue dragons, and she is just,
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't follow dragon law. She does what she wants, and it makes sense that she's bonded with Zayden over, because they're both ruthless and will do things the way they need to do them.
And they don't give no fucks.
He don't give a F about nothing.
No, none to
Neither
give.
does she.
None. Hold on, let me look for it. I'm sorry, I don't have any to give. No fucks to give. I can't. But then, so we learn about Sigale, more about Sigale,
Mm-hmm.
the different types of dragons, and then their tails, which we'll get into more later. But then, like we mentioned, this is the first black dragon that we're seeing, which is also the only black dragon that we know of. Taryn, our badass bestie. Oh. And then they kind of talk about how there hasn't been one born in the last century, which is also a really kind of interesting key thing, I thought, too, because we know that Andarna is just a baby and we see her more later on in Iron Flame. But again, we don't really know what kind of dragon she really is at all. And it's like, what, I don't know, what's to come? Could she possibly be a black? Could she be, we know that her scales kind of change.
Yeah.
Ugh. I can't. I just need Empyrean 3.
Oh, and there's actually 2 black dragons.
Because, that's right. Because there's
General Melgren's dragon, Coda. He is the only other black dragon, and he's the eldest of them all. So he's kind of like the dragon that oversees dragonkind right now.
Yeah. Which is also such a strong dragon, rider, and signet in that pairing, which is crazy.
Which is just so crazy. And, Professor Kaori calls Violet after class after kind of revealing some big information, only to let her know that Taryn's last rider, Naolin, is the one, he died trying to resurrect her brother Brennan. And Violet's like, well, resurrection's not possible. Like, why would he do that? And he's like, well, Naolin, he was trying to siphon, and he was trying to save him, and he died in the process, and Taryn refused to bond ever since then.
Yeah. Which is so crazy. And then to know later on that he does decide to bond, and it's our girl, bye. It's the best news ever. Yeah. We also learn in this chapter that the dragon's gifted signets say more about the rider than the dragon itself. So it comes into play later on when Violet does bond and everything like that. But like, again, with those little Easter eggs. But it also says a lot about Xaden in this aspect of, like we said, like he's paired to Sigale, but bonded. But his signet, shadow wielding, is more reflective on him and his abilities and his strength than it is on Sigale. And I think that's like such a cool thing to think about, because really the whole story is Violet, this weak, undermined girl that, everyone has underestimated. Nobody believes that she should be here. Even Dane, her best friend, doesn't believe. Mira doesn't believe. And then knowing that her signet is what it is, and she's truly the badass that we all want to be. Like, chef's kiss, Rebecca, chef's kiss.
Absolutely. And, everyone's telling her like to outsmart them. And Professor Kaori calls her, and he was like, I taught Brennan and Mira, and both were strong, amazing writers, but you're smarter. And she's like, wow, I've never been compared to my siblings and come out on top. Like, what is this life right now? But it's just really cool that he sees that in her, and he supports her.
He supports her. Okay, one little italices in this chapter, which we talked about, but it says, probably just to screw with you, a monster playing with his prey before pouncing. Remember we were talking about him pouncing and why, Rebecca, why? But these fucking italics, they get me thinking way too hard, and I know.
Well, and we move into sparring, and they're on the mat, and Violet, she's been working her way through her opponents because she's been poisoning them, and she doesn't have an opponent. And so Xaden's like, I'm gonna step up on the mat, bitches. And you're just like, okay. But I mean, even before that, Jack is just antagonizing the absolute fuck out of Violet, and she takes Xaden's advice over Dane's. I don't think we even brought this up yet, but Dane's like, hey, lay low. Don't piss him off. Don't let him get to you. Just don't even acknowledge him. And then Zane's over here like, throw daggers at him. So what does she do? She throws daggers at him, and the fucker's like, oh God. Like, he pretends he's not scared, but he's scared.
He's literally terrified. Well, she throws 2, to be specific. Yeah. And one goes by his head, and the other by his balls.
Again
Like,
has him by the balls.
I would be like, at that point, if you were fucking Jack Barlow, wouldn't you be like, okay, never mind, bitch. Like, I got the hint. Like, I'm chill now. But no,
Leave my balls
this
alone.
fucker is like so resilient, and he's just like, yeah, I'm still coming for you, bitch. Like, watch out. Okay, I'm coming. Like, ugh. He just pisses me off so bad. But again, those are the Talisies. There it is. Her thinking. He'd probably think twice about plotting your murder if you threw a few daggers at his head. And I love that she just brings it right back around. Like, thank you, Rebecca. Again, your beautiful writing. It gets me every time.
Well, and what pisses me
I
off
love
is
it.
that Dane is livid that she didn't take his advice, that she did that. She makes a point. While Dane's being a little bitch baby over here, Rhiannon's like, yeah, that was fucking awesome. Again, we just have so much love for Rhi.
She's our hype woman. Yes.
She is. She's the best.
She's the ultimate hype woman, and Dane is a bitch, and that's why he sits back and plays it safe. And even knowing he has a higher signet, like, he still is like, rules, listen, obey, like, don't step out of line, do what I'm told. And it is just like so frustrating that you're giving this advice to your best friend, knowing that, like, it's not going to benefit her in the long run to sit back and act like lay low. Everyone knows who you are. Like, that's not going to help her anyway. People already know. So at what point does she have to have a backbone and, like, stick up for herself? And for him to, like, no, don't do that. Like, oh, fuck you. You're the worst hype woman, man.
He's just terrible, and he is just big mad at her, and you're like, yikes, sir. You need to calm down. You're being way too loud.
You are being way too loud. Thank you, T Swift, because you need to calm down. And if she was the man, things would be different.
Facts.
But I love, she finishes the chapter with, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Go. That's where I'm going to. We're one brain here.
Okay, one brain, same brain.
One brain
Insane
cell
in the membrane. What? Do you know what that's from? Insane in the membrane. Insane, got no brain. Okay, I'm done.
And now my brain's
off.
going MXPX. It's like, that girl's got no brains. Whoa.
Oh my god. Okay.
Anyway.
She finishes the chapter with, basically, we see that Violet has gone through all of these opponents week by week, match by match, and she's managed to survive. Like, by the skin of her cheeks, she's surviving. They have been, disillusioned. They've felt weak and frail. They've been physically sick, like, up chucking. And I don't know a good way to say that. And then it gets
profusely
to a point where
vomiting.
Projectile, actually. But she
that too.
Oh god. She gets to a point where her opponent is, not even able to make it out of the mat. And so, have it behold that, fucking Xaden is over here, and he goes, I'm happy to step in, as if, like, no, thank you, sir. We don't need you here. Thank you. And he's just like, sure, me. Here I am. And so that leads us right into chapter 9.
And chapter 9 will be such a good one because, we, in the original Prince of Fourth Wing, we have the regular chapter 9, but in the holiday editions, chapter 9 is one of the bonus contents that we got of Xaden's POV. So we're kind of getting the dual perspective in this next segment, and it's so good.
Anything with Xaden, his POV, anything. Just give me more. Can we get a full book on his POV, please? Please, Empyrean 3, be Xaden's POV. That's all I need.
Or just in certain spicy situations.
You went there. You totally went there.
No shame.
Okay, Rebecca, take the hint.
Take notes. Yeah, that's chapter 8. Before we keep just getting more unhinged here, we're wild. It's fine.
We're off the rails. Wrap it up. Wrap it up. All right, going into chapter 9.
The chapter 9. Oh my goodness! Like the most, if you know chapter thus far into the book, and we are so excited to be covering this one.
I love chapter 9. I love that later on, Rebecca did not fail us and she gave us Zayden's POV.
Oh, it's a good one.
It's so good. I love everything about this. I have way too many notes on this chapter. I love a good banter. Like, eat that shit for breakfast. I love banter. I think in my personal relationships, in my book boyfriends, with my besties, like, I love banter any time of day, but like these two, no banter. Oh my god.
Mwah. Yes.
Go feral for Zayden. This is terrible.
Honestly. Our poor husbands.
I know. So
fine.
good.
It's fine.
Okay. I love. I love. Should we do chapter summary?
Oh, yeah. Please give me the chapter summary.
Sorry. Yeah. Obviously, we gotta let the people know what is happening. Violet and Zayden enter the sparring ring. Will she manage to get her ass kicked or worse? As the match begins, Violet takes her fighting stance, but is now facing her hardest match yet as she throws daggers after dagger and Zayden deflects. Rendering her unarmed, she quickly realizes he isn't here to kill her, but teach her a lesson. Going for blood today? Are we violence? He asks. But instead of simply handing her ass to her, he takes her down to the mat in what is probably the sexiest sparring match to ever be held at Basgiath. But they aren't the only two in the gym. As Dane watches on and becomes increasingly frustrated with an unfair matchup, Violet has to push out the thoughts of hate and, well, her desire for him as they come face to face, bodies pressed against each other on the mat. Zayden takes the advantage to teach her lessons on using the skills she has instead of going for bigger moves she hasn't yet mastered. He's actually helping her. Odd. Once he deems the lesson complete, he simply stands and walks away, leaving her to catch her breath. After the match is over, we see Violet in Dane's room and what almost comes off as an intimate moment as Dane rubs out Violet's sore muscles. They discuss the day and the trials she has faced, but soon the conversation takes a turn as Dane fucking Ados does what he always does and pisses us the hell off. Oh, this chapter. Oh, it's like the good and the bad and the ugly and more of the good, but then Dane. Like, why are you in existence at this point?
My notes about Dane's being a bitch again. Crybaby Dane.
Crybaby Dane.
I know there's more. Yeah, Crybaby Dane. I even have it in like later chapters
I just
too.
have
Again,
Dane fucking Ados.
Literally like all caps in chapter 11. Fuck you, Dane.
I know. This whole chapter. I have words to say to him.
It's fine. It's fine. You know what? We can put Dane fucking Ados out of our minds because this chapter, currently doing Vi's POV, we'll get to Zayden's after, but this chapter, oh, I'm blushing.
I am blushing. I'm speechless. I cannot. I literally remember reading. I remember reading this chapter, like, being so stressed that, like, something bad was actually gonna happen to her, but then, like,
Yeah.
thinking, "No, it's too early in the book," like, obviously, she's the main character, nothing can actually happen, but then
Mhm.
also, this was before I knew the book was enemies to lovers, so, like, this whole chapter was, like, pissed me
Yeah.
off, made me
Stressful.
mad, made me feel things, made me fall in love, like, all the things in one little chapter, and I was like, literal
Yep.
screams.
We just we go feral for Zayden.
In the best way. Oh,
It's
he's delicious.
interesting as Zayden steps out onto the mat and he is noted as it's literally quoted, Zayden's one of the best fighters we have. And it's like, interestingly enough, you have a third year top rank wing leader stepping in like, oh, I'll spar the nobody first year. Okay,
Yeah.
Zaddy, we know what you're trying to do.
Yeah. No.
It's fine.
You're not fooling
We could
anyone
spar any
here.
day.
Give me a lesson.
You know, I
Oh.
will say though, when Dane tries to be like, that's kind of unfair. Like, a third year wing leader to
Yeah.
first year weak ass Violet. And Dane's like, nah, nah, nah. And Zayden's like, nobody asked you. He's like, I'm just clap back at you.
Literally no one asked for your opinion, Dane, as per usual. Nobody asked.
Yeah,
Nobody cares.
literally none.
I love it. And she's like,
Nope.
this sadistic ass is enjoying this. Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is. And he's really gonna enjoy it when we get to his POV. Oh my god.
And then he has the audacity when she throws her daggers at him. He's like, already seen that move. Okay. But like, I
Yeah.
know, but like, sir, you're just gonna piss her off so bad right now.
So bad. And she does. She, like, literally, you could tell that she's, like, annoyed and pissed at the situation that she's even, like, sparring with him, but then is still like,
Hmm.
"Okay, are you gonna kill me? Or are you not gonna kill me? If you're gonna kill me, can you just, like, do it already?" The
Yeah,
anticipation is more annoying than, like, them actually in this match right now. And
yeah.
she, like, asks him, like, "Are you gonna do it?" And he's just like, "And be denied the pleasure of your company?" Okay.
God, he just has
Can
the best
we
responses in this
can
chapter.
we cut the sexual tension with a knife? Yes, we can.
Oh, a plastic butter knife would glide right through that.
Uh, it's like, "Okay, kiss and make up. We know you're lovers. Thank you. Move along." But he does. He, like, has so many lessons for her, and he's like, "Don't trust a single person who faces you on this mat." Like, he wants to help
Yeah,
her, and she's, like, caught off guard. She's like, okay, we're, like,
yeah.
in this match, and what am I supposed to be doing? And now you're, like, giving me feedback? Question mark? But she's, like, also trying to play it
Mhm.
off like, "Oh, I'm not gonna get my ass kicked." Like, I'm clearly half his size and weak as
Yeah,
fuck, but I'm gonna stick it to him. Like, it's just wild. Like, their bond, like, chapter
yeah.
9, it's like palpable. Like, she's
Mhm.
pissed at him for doing this, but then the timing of it, and then as the match progresses, like, they're both battling with this emotional connection. But, like, when you first read just chapter 9, like, before his point of
Yeah.
view even came out, like, the whole time you're just thinking, like, okay, is it a game? Is it, like, this sick, twisted thing that he's doing? And then
Mhm.
you get his POV, and you're like, I mean, I'm on a stretch here, possibly, but, like, he fell first? He fell first,
As he should.
as he should. I can't.
Well, and like you said in the chapter summary, he's giving her advice, and he does say, like, you need to stop going for bigger moves that are going to expose you. So he's just really truly being a good teacher. And then he just, so subtly is like, you can't poison everyone before you fight them. I'm like, it's like, you can't have tea with a Griffin rider. I'm like, he knows. And she's all shocked, like, how do you know?
She's like, damn it, my tea time was scheduled.
Our tea time looks a little different than other people's tea times, I guess, because this is our tea time.
I'm spilling all the goddamn tea today. I got it.
Always. But I mean, he does make a very subtle comment here. Let me see. He's like, she's like, how did you know? How'd you know that this is what I've been doing? And he's like, I've known far better poison masters. Well, son of a bitch. The asshole is just like, Brennan.
Yeah. I can't.
Wow. Okay, Rebecca. Foreshadow.
There's a whole lot. Well, more to come on that. But yeah, like, he's saying things and doing things that are kind.
Yeah.
And it really does just, like, take you back, because you're like, I'm supposed to hate this person. He's, like, out for violence. See what I did there? And but you can't hate him because he's just Satan, and he's just so kind, and he's like even gentle, like, doesn't want to actually hurt her. He's just taking her daggers, tossing them to the side, like, doesn't even come into the match with any of his own weapons. And she's like, excuse you, like, you're not gonna use those? And she's like,
and she's all offended.
No. Yeah, like, okay, because that's if he needs them. He's his own weapon, thank you. But then she goes, beautiful fucking asshole. I can't even.
I know.
I can't.
I know.
Yep, we are obsessed. But Violet. Thank you.
So it was funny the other night. Callie texted me and was like, I just tabbed the best line. And I immediately knew there are so many good lines in this chapter specifically. And I immediately knew exactly which one she was talking about, because Violet thinks, she's like, why am I turned on by this? Why do I like this? He's an asshole. He wants to kill me. And in her brain, she's like, you are not attracted to toxic men.
Okay, I think, here's my 2 cents. I think it's because that's you and I on a daily. We're like, morally gray. I am not attracted to toxic men. And, like, it's something that we would actually say. And I think that's why your brain immediately went there. Like, that connection was just there. Red flags? That's my beige. My beige flag is that I don't see red flags.
Call me a bull. I'm running to him.
You are not attracted to toxic men. But I am. So sign me right the fuck up. I am with you, Violet. The urge to fight the red flag. We all need a morally gray man to call us violence.
Literally.
Like, why isn't that my nickname? Honestly disappointed.
I've asked my husband multiple times why he has not called me violence or a violent little thing. And he's like, you're not violent. I'm like, what do you know?
I could be.
I will throw hands.
In the air. Put my hands in the air.
Like, we just don't care.
And then immediately after, she's like, toxic, dangerous, wants to kill you. Like, she's making a mental note of, like, this is why you don't like him. Yeah. Doesn't matter.
He's checking all of the boxes.
It's like her wish list. Toxic, dangerous, wants to kill me. Yes. Okay, sign me up.
Amazon Prime that shit.
Next day delivery? Oh my god.
That's on Amazon. Consider me ordering right now.
Oh my god. Adds to cart. But then, like, yeah, she's
Oh.
like, my pulse still skitters like a teenager. Like, you're tingling? You're tingling in your what area, Violet? Oh my god.
So good. There was a descriptive line while they're sparring, and it says, he seizes my wrist and pins it above my head, and we're just like, what?
Stop right there.
Oh no, my wrist has been seized.
Oh no, whatever shall I do? My god, you didn't even try. He like walks up and he's like, honestly, she wasn't even putting up a fight. Like, no, would you?
She's already just like, darn. Gosh golly.
You got me. While you're at it.
I can't.
This is a very unhinged chapter, I will say that, but I'm telling you, this man,
this chapter, this POV was for the ladies.
It was. This fictional man has literally. Oh, thank you, Siri. Siri wants to add to your cart.
She was going. Well, she did say, "Here's what I found."
I cannot.
Who's in stock?
Take your pick. Oh, that could go so badly. So badly.
How am I supposed to choose?
Oh my gosh. I am just. But, like, so then they're just going back and forth, you know. He's giving her these little tidbits of information of, like, let me help you. And then his backhanded comment of defenseless women have never been my type. We're done for today. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So you want me to put up a fight? Okay. Say less.
Say less.
Say less. I can't.
This
he
is
says
when you and I are one brain cell. Oh my gosh.
This is my Roman Empire right now, and I will die on this hill alone if I have to. But defenseless
I'm on this hill with you.
We ride at dawn. Oh God.
Forget Narnia. For Zayden.
For Zayden. I can't. I'm just.
We need swords. Why don't we already own swords?
That would be dangerous in my household, honestly. Have you met my child?
Mine too. But I mean,
I know.
You and I need swords.
That sounded like lightning
Just
McQueen.
for the podcast, but...
Okay. I can't. He's like homeboy. My homeboy. My zaddy homeboy is literally out here toughening her up for the bedroom.
Truth.
Like, we love when a man is in control, and he like controlled the moment. But then for him to just be like, yeah, like he just decides like, okay, you've had enough. Like,
we're done.
Tell me he's a dom without telling me he's a dom.
We have made this scene so much more sexual.
Did we though? I think this is how she wrote it. I don't think we added anything.
We just
if you didn't see it this way, I'm sorry
open about
you missed the perfect visual that you needed to see.
You missed the
Oh my
mark.
god.
Because
Missed it. Missed opportunity. Oh, I love,
it's to the
I
point that
love.
they forget that other people are around them. And, on
Yeah.
the outside, everyone's watching them. And it even says that, Dane is describing there's murder in his eyes. And you're like, Dane, is there murder or is there seduction?
Sex.
There's both.
It's when you read those books and they're like, his sex climbed, like whatever it is, his sex. And I'm like, you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes, and I hate it.
I hate it. I'm like, just call it what it is. Call a spade a spade. His sex. But literally, that's like, yeah, murder in his eyes. No. Not it at all.
He's not hungry for muck duck, ladies and gentlemen. He's hungry for something else.
I mean,
Oh my god. This is just another time I'm like, who lets us have a public platform to talk? Because, oh my gosh.
I don't think it was voted on, so don't get too ahead of ourselves. They're like, just kidding. We're going to take that microphone from you now.
Let's not put it to a vote.
No, we don't need your opinions. Like we said, if you think we're funny, go leave us a review. Thank you. If you want to hear more of our unhinged conversation about Zayden and his hot body and the things that he could do with his hands, we'd love to chat. Oh my god. I can't.
As they're wrapping up, and he has already thrown out his little defenseless women, have never been my type moment. He looks at Dane and he's like, hey, Dane. Or he doesn't say Dane, he says, hey, Ados. And he's like, she could use a little less protection. And Dane can't even do shit because that's his wing leader. So he's just like,
like a smug little asshole. He's just like, fine. I can't. Whatever. I can't even argue because you're right.
That is literally
I'm
when
pathetic.
I wrote Crybaby Dane.
He is a crybaby.
See? Crybaby Dane.
He's like pouting in the corner.
This whole chapter isn't...
Like he's crawling all over her and I'm just standing here watching it.
He's literally like fuming. I can see arms crossed, face man just holding her. He doesn't even have his arms crossed. He's holding her daggers like caressing a baby.
Crybaby.
Yes! That is it. That is it right there.
Crybaby Dane. Okay, now there needs to be a new meme with his with a baby Dane head.
On it. Let's make
it. Thanks. Thank you, Crybaby Dane.
You heard it here first, folks.
Folks.
I didn't live in the Midwest or anything, okay?
Okay. Get your horse and
You
buggy,
betcha.
okay? Are you from Canada?
Or am I from the Amish with my horse and buggy?
Honestly, I don't know.
After the conversation we had about the girl who dated the Amish man, we can't go there.
Is that what that guy was? Was Amish?
Yes, that's why he had a butter churner.
Oh. Wait, what are you talking about?
I will explain that more in depth later.
Yeah. That's a later conversation. Okay, back to Dane and Violet. They have this conversation. So they're, to set the scene, they're in Dane's room. He's like intimately rubbing out her muscles, right? Like giving her this
shirtless,
massage.
just wearing a cover, a band around her boobs.
Yes. And all that's on Violet's mind is Zaddy. Rightfully so. He's still on my mind too. But so she's like internally like having this debate on like, is he good? Is he bad? After the conversation she saw of him and the other marked ones, their conversation about whatever, she's still contemplating if like he's plotting against Navarre. So she asked Dane, like, do you think he is or was? And to all of our surprise, Dane kind of defends him and is like,
Yeah.
no, like, because I know the dragons and how they bond, and they wouldn't,
Yeah.
he wouldn't be able to get away with that because the dragons are so loyal to the Veil. And so he
Yeah.
like kind of sticks up for him, which is
Mm-hmm.
great because check for Dane or for Zayden. Like, that's another tally in our book. Thank you. And so she's just like still
It's true.
prying though, but like in the wrong places. Like, why are you asking Dane, of all people, more things about Zayden? And I
Mm-hmm.
understand it's probably from the perspective of like they're so close and whatever, but like,
Yeah.
bitch, go somewhere else. Talk to someone else. Like, why are you asking Dane, of all people?
Go ask Eric.
Yes, please. Ugh. I love Garrick. Coming up, I love Garrick. Like, there's moments. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
but so then this is also kind of the moment we learn more about the bond between dragons and riders, and like how they're constantly in
Mm-hmm.
their heads, and they have these mental wards they can put in place to kind of block out their dragons if needed. But for the most part, like that connection, well, the connection's always there, but like their communication line is pretty much always open. And so
Yep.
from what Dane knows with his dragon and what he knows of Zayden, he defends him. And we love
Yep.
that. Way to go, Dane.
And
That's
it's
a point, Dane. Little tiny half a point.
that's being generous, but yeah.
I said half.
Yeah, that's still
and then
generous.
and then immediately it flips to crybaby Dane fucking Ados. Trying to
All
send
over
Violet back
again.
to the scribe's quadrant yet again. Like, bro. But this time it's like worse
Because
because he
he
goes and tells Markham, of all people,
Mm-hmm.
to put like a target on Violet's back. Like, these are all the people that have tried to hurt her,
Yeah.
have pushed her, had sent her a message. Like, that was not your place at all to
Yeah.
put your 2 cents in. Oh, that shit pisses me off so bad.
And he did it because not only is he quote unquote trying to keep her safe, but also because he found out that someone had put mutilated violets in Violet's bed. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, Violet, that's a threat. And she's like,
It's a
they're dead
threat.
flowers, Dane.
Yeah, she's like, I'm not even, didn't put two seconds thought to it. And he's like, oh, that is the worst offense. But
Mm-hmm.
him and his little rules, he's like, they shouldn't have done that. That's so bad and whatever. No,
But
no,
like
go away.
Violet, Violet's usually like, I can't. My mom will just bring me back. Dane, like, just let it be, whatever. She kind of claps back. She's like, Dane, I have outlived a fourth of my year. I've made it this far. I'm
Mm-hmm.
still here. Let me keep going. Like, go
Yeah,
off, sis. Clap back.
go off. Yeah, she says, she's, well, and she's kind of internally too. Like, she's proving to herself, to everyone, the matchups, she's made it past everyone, even though she's pretty much like disabled them and rendered them useless on the mat in the
Yeah.
sparring ring. But she still is like, I can do it. I'm outsmarting them. Like, fuck off. I'm my own badass bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you're out here
Facts.
doubting me yet again. Yet again.
Mm-hmm.
It
Like,
just,
just have my back for once.
just once. And he has yet to
Just,
do it. And I'm like, you're the person that's supposed to know her the most. Which
yeah.
actually, I kind of have some advice for Dane. Because this whole, like, this intimate rub down that's happening, and then knowing their history, like, obviously there's a physical chemistry there.
Yeah.
between the two. So we like see her massaging her and like grabbing her face and leaning into her and touching her. And
Yeah.
like, bro, just go for it. Like,
Like, if you're gonna shoot your
imagine,
shot, just do it.
just do it. Like, imagine though if Dane would have like taken these moments to like grow the relationship with Violet. Like,
I know,
if he
right?
was cheering her on like he should have been, she totally would have
Mhm.
ended up in his bed and not Zayden's.
And my brain over here
Mind
is just
blown.
Shia LaBeouf. Just do it!
Shia LaBeouf. But literally, like, he could have had the girl
Yeah.
and been successful as a writer. Like, what a totally different story this would have been.
Mhm.
And, like, he just couldn't even do it because he's, like, a little rule follower and, like, I can't, she's a younger year than
Yeah.
me. But,
And they may have
like,
never known the truth, like, it could have just been, like, the Prince Charming happily ever after, boring
I was
shit.
gonna say, like, football captain and cheerleader. Like, they could have been like the top of the school,
Yes,
this
exactly.
unbreakable bond. Like, they could have been two
Power
badass
couple.
bitches, power couple, and it could have been Zayden in the corner pouting and throwing a little fit. But like, no, because Dane's a fucking pussy and didn't
And
take his
Zayden's
shot.
not gonna be crying in the corner.
He would pull a full Zayd Meadows touch her and you die moment.
I'm okay with this.
Can we get a crossover, actually?
Zaddy versus Zaddy.
I don't want to do that, actually. Never mind.
No.
Uh,
No.
Reverse Hera?
Zayd Meadows with a dragon. Oh my gosh.
Oh. This is taking a turn again. Sorry.
Those are two very different scenarios.
Sorry. My brain, it's on a whole different wavelength when we're talking about Zayden. It's,
I understand.
like I mentioned, like, this is a fantasy book, and I'm like, morally gray?
Yes.
I see all shades of gray, thank you. 50 Shades of Grey was my first dark romance. I will proudly admit that.
Same.
That seems so long ago. Oh my gosh. Why? But
That was a
why? Like,
lifetime ago.
a lifetime ago.
Because
But
that's
why
all
didn't
we
he just.
had.
I know. That's true. Or maybe that's just all we knew. That's all was presented to us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because, yeah, we didn't have, obviously, this series. We didn't have almost all of SJM. We only had the very beginning of Throne of Glass. So, no, like, we didn't have.
No, but
We
I
didn't
mean,
know.
like,
We didn't know what was at our fingertips yet.
true. But I mean, like, there's gotta be. I guess probably not. I don't know. Now I'm gonna look. Now I need to do some research because maybe there's some hidden gems that we don't know about. Oh
There's
my
gotta
god.
be.
I can't. Okay. Moving on. I just
Anyway.
still. Why didn't Dane shoot his shot at least once? Okay, that's not true. To come, something happens. But
Right. But
in these
at this
early
moment, yeah.
moments, yeah, like, especially in this moment, like, you're literally in here. She's topless. They, like, don't even have any kind of intimate conversations because all their conversations revolve around Dane trying to drag her to the scribes quadrant, and it's just so frustrating. It's like, just let her be.
Yeah.
I've got hate for this
He's
man.
literally begging her. He's like, do it for me. And I'm just like, ew, you're giving me icky vibes.
You are giving me so many icky vibes.
I don't love it.
He's like leaning into her, like almost like crying, and he's like, I cannot lose you. I will not lose
Yeah.
you. And she's like, okay. Like,
We're
okay,
all
yeah,
gonna
I'll
die
think
at some
about it.
point.
I'll think about it, sure. Like, she's unfazed.
She's like, mm-hmm. Are you done yet?
Huge eye roll.
But that is a good segue to get back into the kicking feet giddiness into chapter 9 of Zayden's POV. Screaming
Okay, wait.
internally.
Screaming externally.
Loud noises.
Parkour.
We're just using Steve Carell for everything these days.
Yeah, I mean, if you
It's
know,
fine.
you know. And also, we are co-managers here. This is a joint
Yes.
effort in this podcast. Co-managers for life.
We have
but
decided this ages ago that we are the co-managers.
we are 100% co-managers. What did we decide? You're Michael, you're big picture. I'm Jim. I'm the
And you're
day-to-day.
Jim, day to day.
I think it's fitting. Also, if you know that we obviously have picked out fictional characters, well, obviously book boyfriends, but then movies, TV shows, all the things of, your celebrity crushes. Everybody has a celebrity crush. Don't lie. Everybody does. Your hall pass, your
100%.
guilty pleasure, John
Yep.
Krasinski. Chef's kiss, that's all. That's all I have. Okay.
Literally, my contact photo for you in my phone is John Krasinski.
I'm a little highly jealous of Emily Blunt and her daily life. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. I'm fine.
Fine.
I don't know why my voice sounds like this.
Coming all high and squeaky.
I have a petition to Rebecca personally to make an entire book in Zayden's point of view. Okay, thank you.
I've already signed.
I'm sure all of America has signed. Like, an entire book.
They don't know it yet, but they've signed.
Could you just imagine?
Mhm.
Could you imagine? Oh my god. What if like the whole first half of Onyx Storm is Zayden's POV? Like they're separated. He's now been in, they're separated, and it's his POV. And we're like, but where's Violet? Oh my god. Oh,
If you just called it, you heard it here, folks, because again, Onyx Storm prediction.
Oh my god, I have so many predictions, and my time, like my calendar, can it just be January 21st? Time travel. Where's Marty? Back to the Future.
He's being McFly. It's.
I need it. I need the book now. Okay.
We also need the Tortures Poet. Okay.
That's soon. That's soon, and I can't wait. This will be out before then, and I'm.
A few more weeks.
I can't wait. I know. The other day I had like maybe she released a song, and like, no, why would she do that? That would be too fun. I know.
Because she hates us.
She does. She's like, at this point, you will suffer.
And you will like it.
And you will like it. She's not wrong. She's not wrong.
Nope. And, jumping right into Zayden's POV, one of the very first quotes that I noted is, she looks more pissed than terrified that I'm about to end her. He's like, she's not actually really scared. She's just mad at me because I'm not bringing weapons. I love it.
I'm not mad either.
Nope.
I'm not mad either. She is.
But, we have him kind of analyzing the situation. He's kind of questioning himself, like, why am I actually doing this? I'm actually starting to care. And Gale's in his head, like, this is reckless. What are you doing?
Correction, she's more like, this is reckless. In that dragon voice.
I don't sound scary, so
I don't either. That was kind of silly. But I love
I loved it.
this is the first look, if you will, if you're reading, a holiday edition.
If you kind of
And
put that, yeah.
yes, of the bonds between Dragon and Ryder. And so it's like, Sigale, like she's entered the chat. Can't wait.
She
And
has
as
the
if
voice.
Xaden doesn't already know, like, duh, this is stupid. But also, is she kind of thinking like he could actually hurt, like Violet could actually hurt him, which is funny, honestly,
It's
or that
comical.
somehow she would like find out information from this little matchup? Like, why is she so like, this is a bad idea? Like what
Hmm.
constitutes the comment, I guess.
Well, and Xaden, he's thinking to himself, he's like, forget the mission. I'm due to fly this weekend. Yeah. And Sigil is like, that's my point. You're not focused on the job here.
Yep.
You're focused on the little first year in front of you.
But then the missions too lead him.
I know.
And
It's
so it's just
fine.
like this whole thing, because in the back of his head, he's got places to be, things to do, people to see. And
Yeah.
now he's out here climbing all over Violet and trying not that he would share this information because he's obviously a strong writer and knows better, but like he's also putting
Yeah.
himself in a position to be closer to her and to have things, I don't know, maybe
Right.
spill out, even though that's probably not likely. But like, again, Sigale being like, what are you doing, you stupid boy?
She's
You're thinking with your dick and not your brain. Such a
I'm thinking
man.
with my dick.
Literally, like it's such a man thing to do, to be like, yeah, let me.
It
He's
is,
like
yeah.
walking in there, with his arms all puffed out, and he's like, yeah, with my dick.
Conor McGregor walking.
Yes, that's it. Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Do. Think of with my dick.
Or if you watch The Office and Jim tells Dwight there's a bed bug, he's like, was it like moody and sleepy? He's like, no, it was smug. Like he thought it was funny.
And Jim's like, oh, like this.
That's how he was walking out to that mat.
Oh my god.
And
I love that episode so much.
Xaden, that's so good. But Xaden makes a comment, like he's like, this is really risky. Like I am responsible for 107 souls. If you know, you know. Again, something we'll touch on later, but a huge piece of foreshadowing. You're like, 107 souls, huh? Huh?
Mhm. Oh, it just hurts. That one hurts. I thought was
As they
interesting.
go
I
ahead.
thought it was interesting. He says, he locks the shields into place, but then it's noted
Mm-hmm.
because he notices that Ados is close by. But we know that Dane's signet is retrocognition. So,
Mm-hmm.
but in this moment, it's like almost if Xaden isn't questioning or hinting that he's an intrinsic and that he's pretending it's retrocognition.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. Like, he's so
We have
eerily
jumped to Iron
aware.
Flame, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. So in that, yeah. And there it is.
Yeah.
Sorry. I can't stay in one book. We've mentioned
You
that.
don't need to stay in one book. I think it's great.
I
Just
just want more of Onyx Storm. Like, I need Onyx Storm so bad. So he goes on, he says, that brilliant, devious mind might regrettably be a complete turn on, but she's going to get herself killed if she depends solely on that method and flinging daggers like a carnival act. Brilliant, devious
I,
mind.
ugh, I love his words, and Zayden's
I
actually
know.
acknowledging how strong Violet is. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, you really aren't like, I know you're weak, I know you're breakable, but like you are strong, you are trying, you are capable. And this is, even though he's not verbalizing it, Xaden is already her hype man.
Yeah,
I love it.
he is. These little tidbits, I need to like write down and be like, husband, can you say this to me? Brilliant, devious mind. Can you?
Here's a guidebook.
Thank
Husband
you.
101.
Zayden 101.
I mean, you know, they're
Shadow Daddy.
sparring and Xaden and Xaden, he's like starts thinking about how she smells and he's like to himself, no thinking about how she smells, jackass.
I love
And he's
it.
like, oh
Like,
shit. Oh shit.
you have to tell yourself, no thinking about it, jackass. Like, he forgot what he was even supposed to be doing here. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then immediately after, like, don't touch her with your mouth. Like, when are you in a fight and you're like, oops, kissed you?
My lips slipped.
If it wasn't so hot, like, it would be borderline creepy. Like, you think of
Absolutely.
oh my god. When you think of like you're in the club dancing with your girls and the guy just like appears behind you and like starts grinding on
And you're
you
like,
and you're like, ugh, no.
no.
But like in the
We're not
like
here for that.
that's what she should be thinking. Like, bro, no, you're in my bubble. But like, no, it's Zayden and it's Endgame. So she's like, okay, let me smell you too. I
And then
need
he
my
realizes his internal monologue. He's like, I'm not the only one attracted here. And we're all just
I'm
like,
not the only one. Cause two. Oh no, what's the song? I don't know. I lost it. My last brain cell
and
just
then the
left.
fandom went feral. Your brain cell is in Arizona. I am your brain cell.
You are my last brain cell.
As you are mine.
Uh,
It's just so good. So good.
I do too love, like, he's like, I can't remember the last time I had so much fun. Every
Yeah.
single one of her expressions is beautifully raw. I'm serious. We just need a whole book. Cause I would
I
just every
know.
single page I would be like la ti
I would
da la
eat
ti
it
da.
up.
Yeah, I don't think I would ever stop reading it. I would just okay, I finished. Back to the beginning.
Done.
Oh,
But you know,
what else?
they wrap up their little sparring match. He's walking away because he's like, I need to get out of here. And Garrick's all like, so you felt like sparring with first years or just that first year?
I mean, it just yeah, it goes back to he's like, I have to get the fuck off of her before she realizes she has
Yeah.
another weapon at her disposal. Um,
Mm-hmm.
thinking with my dick.
A weapon of mass destruction.
Oh. Oh my gosh, yeah. And then Garrick, our sweet little bestie boy, yeah, immediately and he's like, what? Like I want to kill
Like,
her? And he's like, or don't finish that sentence.
mm-hmm.
Wink wink.
He's
Nudge
like,
nudge.
I'm already in a violent mood. Don't keep me going.
I mean, he's like already thinking like, how can I get her to an empty space right now? Like
I know. Oh, yeah. Right, Mal.
I need to see how much chemistry we have right now. Okay. Okay.
The slow burn is real.
Ugh.
I love it.
I love.
It's just such a good chapter. I'm so glad that's the POV chapter she gave us. Alrighty, moving right on along into chapter 10. Callie, roll us out with the chapter summary.
It's Gauntlet Training Day. It's designed to
Scary.
test your balance, strength, and agility as described in the book. As Brennan wrote to Mira in his book, the obstacle course is carved into a cliffside with zigzagging trails, 180-degree turns, spinning logs, standing shaking pillars, giant hanging balls, and even a massive vertical ramp to reach the top. It's meant to test each cadet and prepare them for anything they could come in contact with in real battle. Though it is meant for training purposes, does not mean it is not just as deadly as everything else they have faced. In fact, there are safety ropes throughout the course in case one would need them. It will slow their time by 30 seconds, but better than ending their life. Dun dun dun. I feel like every chapter summary ends with dun dun dun. Like it's just I
totally do.
can't.
It's
The
perfect.
gauntlet. I know, but it's like everything is scary at this point. Like everything is just progressing so much. The gauntlet
Vertical
itself.
wipeout.
Yeah. Okay, I can't because the image of like Wipeout to me is just so not scary, but these giant hanging balls. Yeah, it's Wipeout. But
Or
Death
honestly, it
Wipeout.
kind of makes me death wipeout. And it kind of makes me think of like the old like N64 Donkey Kong where you're like running up the different levels and having to like jump the barrels and stuff.
DK Donkey Kong. I love Donkey Kong so much.
I do
DK.
too. That was I'm Donkey Kong.
In my head, no, it's definitely Legends of the Hidden Temple. But even like, do you remember Guts? That show? And they had like
Mhm.
this big, huge like mountain thing, and there was like
Yeah.
ledges, you'd like climb up the ledge, but then occasionally like
Mhm.
boulders would fall down, and such a
Right.
90s kid. I like that's it too. Nickelodeon.
We're
All
aging
these
ourselves.
shows.
It's fine.
It's fine. Oh, actually, the other day, someone told me I didn't look old enough, and she ID'd me. And when I told her that I've had 2 children and I was turning that really big, scary number, she was like, "Oh, that you look amazing," and I was like, "Oh, thank you! Like, thanks for the boost of confidence because I am. It's fine. It's fine.
We all know
New
you
era."
do.
New era. It's fine. Anyway,
New
they are
decade, new
going up.
me.
Yeah, they're going up the Legends of the Hidden Temple era-esque gauntlet. And they're
Yep.
like racing through these obstacles, but I just in my head, I guess I made it less scary. And then on top of that, like maybe they should just throw in some slime to help. Like a big pool of slime at
You
the
got
bottom.
slimed.
Yeah, that would be so much better than, like the rocks that are
Falling
at the
to your
bottom.
death.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fine. I know.
I did.
Violet is
Wait,
getting ready. What?
who's the one that has to clean up the bodies? Because that's not a graceful, just like dead
Oh.
body. Like that's a splat. Ugh. Mm-mm.
Honestly, I didn't put any thought to that, but that's a good
Nope.
question.
Because they're just like, ignore it.
Um,
Keep going.
who do we nominate? I nominate. Who do we think it should be?
Dane.
Who has this job?
Dane.
Dane. Dane and Amber have the dreaded job of cleaning up the dead bodies at the bottom of the gauntlet.
Fuck
Yep,
you,
that seems fitting.
Amber.
Ugh. Especially, no, I can't with her.
Yep.
She's
Okay.
moving forward. I love after the last conversation we finished in chapter 9 of Dane and Violet, he's still, are you sure? Are you sure you want to do this? We could take you to the scribes. And in her head, she's just like, but I've already made it this far.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you have. Like, she's constantly reminding herself. And kind of frankly, like, no one else is cheering her on. Like, Mira's not there. Rhiannon is, but still not to the point because Violet's not like openly expressing how much pain she's in, how much of a struggle it is. Like, Rhiannon is cheering her on, but not to that extent. And so, like, she's her own advocate right now. And I love
Yeah.
that for her. Like, I wish I was like, I will not die today. Every day.
Had that kind of self-confidence.
Yeah. Maybe to a lesser extent, but you could do it. I don't know.
Well, and I thought it was nice that, they're all staring up at the gauntlet, and Aurelie's over here talking about how she has been waiting years for this. She's so excited. And instead of like making them feel bad for being nervous, she's like, oh, my brother was talking about the spitting post. Here's his advice. And she's out here helping. She's being a squad mate. Whereas we've got
Mhm.
fucking Tynan and Luca just being little bitches. I can't with them.
I can't with them either. Okay, let's go back a beat. How did you just pronounce her
Go back.
name?
Aurelie?
I say orally, like Aurora,
Oh,
like Aurora, but orally? That's so crazy. This is why I
I guess we'll
hate
have to
fantasy
look.
books. Now I need to look it up. Like now I'm confused. But
I
anyway, we're
only
on the
say it
same
that way
page.
because I went to high school with a girl named Aurelie. Like, it was
And that's how
spelled
she
like
spelled
that.
it?
Yeah.
Aurelie. I've literally oh, my mind is
We'll have
blown
to look
right
it up
now.
and
Hold
see how it
on.
was intended.
No, I need a minute. I'm just kidding. They pissed me off in this chapter. Like they're like, yeah, fuck you guys. Just because you're big,
Yeah.
strong, and think you can conquer anything doesn't mean that it's still not like a big, scary thing that they all have to face.
Well, even Riddick looks at Tynan and he's like, just because you made friends with Jack and Oren makes you think that you're tough shit and you're really not. We are squad mates. Get your shit together.
And we all
Like,
need to
Riddick
succeed as
tells
squad
him.
mates. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is it in this chapter that is facing this again? Who was it?
Sawyer.
Sawyer. Yeah,
Hmm.
your big dick energy isn't needed here because even though you made it once before, like doesn't mean you're going to make it again. First of all,
Yep.
second of all, you've been through this and you weren't bonded, so check yourself
Well,
before you wreck
Sawyer
yourself.
Sawyer wasn't saying anything bad. Sawyer was actually telling them to like shut the fuck up. It's Tynan and
Mm-hmm.
Luca who were being rude as
Yep, yep,
fuck.
yep, yep.
And Sawyer's
Yep,
like,
you're
it's
right.
not your time. It
I
doesn't
should get my book
matter.
back out.
There's so much to remember. It's hard.
It is. And these like smaller characters,
Yeah.
I get
Get
them
them mixed
all
up.
confused. I do. Plus, here I'm like, I am so attentive to detail. No, I'm not. I really have to think. My brain isn't that good.
You are, though.
So this is the cliff though. So it's the gauntlet, which actual gauntlets are armored gloves made of metal and they're slippery as hell. And the name they say stuck about 20 years ago. But then it got me thinking, like, what was the name
Yep.
before? Like Death Wall,
I was going to say the Death Cliff.
slip and slide, Death Wall. I don't know. Like
Slip and die.
slip and die. I don't know. It's like, why did they rename it? And only 20 years ago, it just seems such like a random fact that she included. Like, it's a new name. Okay, what was it before?
Yeah, it's kind of a funny thing to put in there.
I know. I just kind of thought it was interesting when I was reading that. I was like, huh, interesting. But this is the cliff that separates us from the college campus itself. You go out, then there's the gauntlet. It's a giant cliff up, and then this is what leads you out onto the flight field, leading to the Vale. So as it gets farther out of campus, this is basically the cliff that guards the Vale in a sense.
Yep.
So it's separating,
The humans
which I
from the
think is great. I
dragons.
think is great too because then they're like, "What about that staircase?" They're just like, ignore that. Like, sorry, we forgot to cover that part. Don't look at
You
that.
didn't see this.
You didn't
It's
see
an
it. Pull the
optical
curtain.
illusion.
Yeah, I'm
Chris
like,
Angel
but
up in this bitch.
it's so stupid. But I hate it because then they go on and they're like talking about like actual gauntlet day. Because right now they're just training and
Mhm.
preparing, which is also wild because they're only giving them 2 weeks to prepare
Yeah.
before presentation day, which I kind of think is wild because even the cadets themselves are like, why only 2 weeks? Like, this seems really
right, it was
hard.
just
And
in
they're
the
like,
beginning.
yeah. And they're like, why, asking that question. And they're just kind of like, well, because real life scenario, like you wouldn't have. And this is just setting you up for battle and blah, blah, blah. And like,
Yeah.
basically, you don't need the extra practice. I don't know. It just was a whole weird thing. But then to think of them doing this portion, this gauntlet,
Mm-hmm.
immediately into presentation, which then we see in the next chapter of how that actually goes. But like the
Right.
adrenaline that you would have, and then to immediately have to turn around and be put on a
Yeah,
walking,
go to presentation. It's
you're like on a
terrifying.
model catwalk in front of these dragons. I just thought
Yeah.
the whole thing was so wild.
Background, it's like, you want to be on top? Basgiath, next top model. One thing I did like is Tynan and Luca are over here just giving Violet so much shit. They're like, well, you're just sleeping with the chain of command because they think that her and Dane are fucking. And our girl Riri's like, no, they're not fucking.
Mhm.
They're childhood best friends. His dad is her mother's second. And they're like, oh shit. And they kind of like stop and just take a step back. I'm like, yeah, that's right. School
Mhm.
those fuckers.
But I kind of think it's funny
Swear.
because she, like kind of plays it off, and it's just like, no, like it pisses her off enough that she's like, no, but then at the same time, she's like, it's none of your business
It's none
anyway,
of your
as if like
business.
it
Yeah.
wouldn't be the worst thing. And she kind of does want to be in his sheets,
Like low key, but
but low key. I don't know. Maybe we
yeah.
need Dane's POV of like what was really going through his head, because why? Again, why didn't you shoot your shot? Take the damn hint. Like, I don't know what we have to tell you. I don't know. I loved that part
Moving
too.
on from Dane.
She is
It's
now. Go
it's
ahead.
interesting because Tynan is taking his court or his way up the course and he's struggling.
Mm-hmm.
And Riddick calls up to him and it's like, oh, you're not so tough now. Shit like that, just kind of antagonizing him. And
Mm-hmm.
Violet's like, hey, quit. Like, just because he's a dick doesn't mean you need to be a dick. So it's just another moment that Violet's like showing her true colors as to who she is and that this college isn't changing her.
Yes, 100%. We love Vi. And
We do.
then it's her turn.
Her turn.
Climbing, jumping, swimming, swinging, swimming.
Swimming.
I'm thinking of the slime pool.
I'm over here like reenacting, like, wait, why am I swimming?
Oh, just kidding. She's, basically doing anything she can not to die. And
Yeah.
then she goes back, same thing. She goes back to her roots and she's like spitting out these facts. She mentions the feathertail. We know that they're the breed we know the least about. Of course, it's brought up again, but like, her encyclopedia brain is like, I got this, like, do what you know. And I think
Yeah.
it's true to Violet. It's funny. These little,
Well, yeah,
like, what the
she's
fuck are you doing?
definitely diving some deeper information more about dragons. And I'll kind of get to that in my dragon segment in a little bit. But yeah, she's
Mm-hmm.
just like really out there, and Aurelia's like, "Are you studying?" And she's
Are
like,
you literally studying?
I'm too busy and too focused to be embarrassed at this point."
Mm-hmm. She's like, I'm just trying to make it through. What are you doing, sis? Like, try it. Oh, that
But
was harsh.
then,
Missed opportunity.
but then
But
we're going
then,
up and we're trying to make it across, and they're
mm,
hyping each other up on the spinning post that Aurelia warns them about, and a dragon flies overhead just long enough to stun
mm-hmm,
them for a second, leading to Aurelia falling off.
mm-hmm. Just that little bit, enough to make her hesitate and like stutter,
Yeah.
and And like for Violet to be like like an arm's length away, like she's just
Trying
right
to catch
there,
her, yeah.
trying, like reaching back, lunging at the ground. She's now laying across, like trying to get
Yeah,
to her. They lock eyes. It's so tragic. Like this one, like
yeah,
Dylan at the beginning was sad and whatever. Like he had so much hope, but this one I was like, like that one took my breath away. I remember reading it the first time and being like, "Oh my god!" And then this time, since it's only my second reread,
mhm.
I was like expecting it, but also
It
still so
sucks
sad.
just
I
as
was just
much.
like, why did that have to happen? And of course, it's
Yeah.
always like right by Violet. Like she couldn't do anything. She tries to help. She couldn't. And it was like so sad. That was so sad.
So, it was just it's awful, and Violet and, funny enough, Tynan are the ones who don't make it all the way up, but, first round, it's practice, it's no big deal, so it's all okay. So we kinda just move on along, and Dane is now entered the chat, and he is with Violet, and she is off to burn Aurelie's stuff since she was the last person to see her alive, look her in the eyes, almost be there for her.
Hmm.
Just again, like Violet is like, I I should do this for her. It's a sign of respect. Her parents are coming to do it. It should be done properly. And it's just like, wow, you have such a strong character inside
Hmm.
you. Like, you're just such a good moral person.
Hmm. And Dane is
It's
like
so
trying to
sad.
taint the moment with his,
Yeah.
well, let me come with you. And she's like, no, I got this handled. Like, I don't need you. I didn't need you then. I didn't need you on the gauntlet. I don't need you right now. Back off.
Yeah.
Take 2 steps back, boy. Bye. And
Well,
we,
thank God he didn't because, she's burned Aurelie's stuff. She sent the prayer up. On her
mm-hmm.
way back down, lo and behold, who do we find?
Mm,
Zaddy
3
himself.
dragons flying overhead, which
Yep.
then leads her to looking over. Zayden, Garrick, and Bodhi are
Yep.
walking now in her direction, and this is like when she puts together that they were out and outside of campus.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's just crazy, he hides her in the shadows and tells them to go on and he can talk to her, but
Mhm.
she's like, "My scalp prickles." Like, it's just that sense that he
Oh.
knows that she's there, and it's like, ah.
It's so bizarre. He's just like, "Here, let me hide you a little bit." And for him to just like stop dead in his tracks and be like, "Okay, go on." And they're like, "Okay." Like,
Yeah.
no, what are you doing, bro? But yeah, prickles. Ooh, gives me goosebumps.
They have their little chat, and he gives us his infamous quote about hope, how it's a fickle and dangerous thing, and she just needs to be realistic to actually survive. And then he gives her like probably some of the best advice he could ever give
Mhm.
her.
Mhm.
It's it's just so good. They're not even talking about the gauntlet until she just kind of like word vomits to him, and she's like, I can't make it up this part," and he's like, "Well, the right way isn't the only way. Figure it out."
Mhm.
He can't tell her what to
Mhm.
do, but he's like, think outside the box. And it just goes back to someone, or not someone, but going back to Mira or Professor Kaori. They're talking about how smart she is. They're like, outsmart them. So Violet outsmart the goddamn gauntlet.
Right. I liked this whole scene because she's like putting this trust in him. Like these are
Yeah.
things that she's expressing to him of all people that she hasn't even expressed to Rhiannon or to Dane. Like she's
Yeah.
sitting here literally word vomiting, and she's, of course caught up on like him killing her still, and he's just like,
Yeah.
killing you wouldn't be my trouble, Violence. It's leaving you alive that seems to cause the majority of my trouble.
Oh,
My
stop
trouble?
it.
My trouble? Question
Oh,
mark? Like,
what kind of trouble?
yeah. This is kind of when you like he's falling, he
Oh
falls
yeah.
first. Like, yes, this is now a Zayden problem. But then, yes, she talks about hope and they go back and forth. And it is kind of just sad. Like, she's like, this damn place, like, you get beat down, and then there's just that little glimmer of hope. And Zayden, yeah, is the one to kind of
Yeah.
like help her through.
Yeah, help her see it.
Oh.
It's
I
a sweet
just
moment even when it's not presented as a sweet moment.
mhm. Mhm.
But I mean,
I
that's what I had
can't.
for chapter 10.
Oh, wait, hold on. There's one more cuz this part was good. He
Oh, uh-huh.
said, "Every day I let you live, I get to convince myself that there's still a part of me that's a decent person." And
Yes.
it's like outside of the college, like he's thinking of Brennan and
Mhm.
also, you know, the 107 others that
Yeah,
he's sort of responsible
responsible
for.
for.
But like he's thinking of Brennan and that one day that like maybe they'll be reunited, and like that would be in part like from his doing. And I think that's
From
like
him. Yeah.
but like him just being like pat on my own back. I'm a decent person. But I do like
He just needs reminded it's okay.
he doesn't actually want to kill her. Like he's
No.
currently helping her figure out ways to get better and succeed. And
Mhm.
but then yeah, she's still kind of at the end of this chapter like, okay, am I going to go to the scribes? I now have a mere, you know, days to figure out if I'm
Yeah.
going to do the gauntlet. And like those doubts is so fucking annoying because she wouldn't have them if it wasn't for fucking crybaby Dane. It wouldn't be in
Mhm.
her mind. Like she knows that she deserves to be there, and it's all because of him being like, "I'll take you. Like, let's go."
Right.
Mm. It's frustrating. It's so
I
frustrating.
can't.
I can't. Crybaby fucking Daneados. I
Just
can't.
just why?
Just why?
I,
And that's yeah, that's what I had for chapter 10.
and as we keep moving on, it's just I literally have a note for chapter 11, all caps, fuck you, Dane, because that's just how passionate we feel about Dane and
Mhm.
Fourth Wing. So, I mean, if you want to
All
keep
caps.
on rolling, give us our chapter 11 summary.
So some more time has passed, and we are now arriving at Gauntlet Day, which leads
Woo.
straight into presentation. Here, the cadets will face the gauntlet fully. If they fail, they are to fall to their death. But if they succeed, having finished the ascent to the top of the cliff and walk straight into the flight field to present themselves to the dragons willing to bond. Although it seems like a victory, it is still far from becoming a bonded rider. Violet is still contemplating the offer Dane has given her to retreat and go to the scribe's quadrant, but today she must decide. Will she live or die today? Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun,
It felt like
dun.
I had to do it. Oh my god,
You
like
have
the
to every
minions.
time. Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, we have children in our house. That's where that's from. I don't watch
Yep.
animated movies regularly. Well, actually I do, but not my choice. That's not true. Sometimes they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anywho,
Well, I thought
um
this one was good because it's literally the excerpt at the very beginning of the chapter. That's when it kind of dives into the burning of belongings because you're not supposed to keep personal belongings of someone who has passed. It is against the rules. You're supposed to burn them. So Violet's
mhm,
out here doing, such a justice for Aurelie, burning her things. But then also we have this like book of fables. We have the book of Brennan, things from her dad, her brother who have passed, yet we still have them. So it's like, okay, we're getting a
Mhm.
little bit of sentimental in here. And
Mhm.
yeah, and then they say presentation day is the deadliest. I'm like, well, I mean, it kind of makes sense. You're about to do some crazy ass shit.
I guess, like, as someone as Violet that knows Codex front and back, upside down, like, inside and out, it's interesting
Hmm.
that she hasn't put more thought into, like, "Oh, the Book of Brennan," but maybe because it was gifted to Mira, so then it's Mira's
Right.
book, and I guess that's how she justifies that, but that is interesting
Yeah.
because, yeah, as this thing that was once Brennan's is now in her possession. Just an
Yeah.
interesting tidbit, but yeah, she doesn't put any thought to it. She's like, "Yeah, he's dead. That sucks."
Yeah. All done.
All done.
We're done.
And then you have Imogen, the very beginning of the chapter. Good luck today. Hopefully you won't fall. Short, like
Mm-mm.
you're
Yeah,
so
just kind of mocking
punny.
Violet.
So
Ha
punny.
ha ha.
Because she struggled to get the last little bit of the gauntlet, the uphill ramp,
Yeah, she
if you
couldn't even
will.
practice the ascent for running up because she couldn't make it past the fourth challenge.
Mhm. Mhm. I I do kind of I want more of Imogen, like, as the books progress. I like her.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want more of her, but in this
She's
moment, I'm like, "You have a low
sassy.
blow," and it, like, gives off
Yeah.
Nesta vibes, like, "You're a bitch, but we love her," and this was one of those moments that initially when I read, I was like, "Fuck this bitch."
Yeah, honestly. She grows on us for sure, but it just takes a while. It's kind of a love-hate relationship there for sure.
I love hate, like a Andy Bernard.
I don't know. It's it is kind of cool because, Riddick is the one he's out here when they're all walking in their formations. He's like, wow, we are still the biggest squad to make it to
Mhm.
presentation. And before Rayleigh, they hadn't lost anyone. So
Mhm.
that really says something. Like they're all just like super, I don't want to say powerful, but like they're kind of more elite and it's just like a neat thing. But yeah, as they're
I
walking
think
to
that's
actually go to the gauntlet.
a direct reflection to Xaden
Yeah.
and, like,
Oh,
what he's
absolutely.
and I like that because
He's
not only is he,
capable of
like,
as a
such
wing
a
leader. Yeah.
Mhm. Good wing leader. Good shadow daddy. Pat on the back for you. Gold
Um
star.
and it's showing a good reflection on him, and yet as they're walking to the gauntlet, their squad leader, Dane's like,
Mhm.
"Go, leave, run. I'll take you right now." Like,
Mhm.
are you for
Mhm.
real?
Yes, he
Are you
is.
for real, Dane? It's
Change your
exhausting.
mind. Like, change your mind, and he's, like, demanding it, like, yelling at her, and then he's like,
Yeah.
"Please," like, "Okay, I
Yell,
know that
whisper.
you care." Oh, yeah, I'm good at that. But, like, you're not helping. She's literally about to go into the gauntlet, and, like, you're still just doubting her, and this is, like, the
Yeah.
worst time to be doing it, like, she's about to do this really hard thing, and, like, "Shut up. Just shut up." And she just is he's like,
Just
"What's
shut
changed
up.
between Parapet and now?" And she's like, me, bro. Me."
Me,
Like,
bitch.
yes. Violet, go off.
Yeah.
Go off. I loved
Clap
that.
back at him, honestly.
She needs to. But she like, her and Rhiannon are having a conversation too, and she's like, "Are you nervous?" And Rhiannon's just like, for you? Like, no, not at all. Like, we got this." Like, giving her that confidence. And she's like, "This
For
is
that
me and
history
you."
test,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, like, no, that history test. There's nothing going on today to panic about. But like, it also kind of made
Yeah.
me laugh. Like that little conversation, I'm like, it's me and you to a T. Like,
Oh,
Delulu.
absolutely. Nothing is going wrong ever.
We don't have anything. There's not a fire over here. It's fine.
No.
I
Well,
loved it.
and Rhiannon literally looks at her and she's like, "I'll see you at the top." Like she won't
Mhm.
accept failure from Violet. She knows. She's
Mhm.
we love Riri. Riri is queen.
Mhm. Mhm.
I know. Even
Her,
as Violet is making her
Zayden.
way up, yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, all of them are like helping her. Mira, Brennan, Rhiannon, and then Zayden, like literally of all
Mhm.
people. And then at me, like the cheer mom in the background. I'm like, go Violet! Like, yeah, I'm a part of this too. Like, I helped you, go Violet! Like, no, I'm not, but
We were
I
there.
love them all. I was there. I was a part of it. Ugh.
And what I was gonna say is it's cool because Violet's finally taking her turn. She's going up the gauntlet. Rhiannon and Riddick have already made it. They're up top and they're hyping her the fuck up. They're like, that is our girl. Go be a badass, make it up. Like they know. They
Cute
are the
little
squad
Riddick.
that everyone needs. I
That's our
know. I love him.
girl. That's our girl. Like, why are you so
I
cute? I
I
love.
literally have a note right here. It just says Riddick the hype man.
I love him.
He is
I
the
just, that's
hype.
our girl. Our girl. I liked that. Like, yes, this is your
Yeah.
squad. That is your girl. You're all getting through this together. And then her little badass self is using her dagger, stabs it in there, uses it for leverage, pulls herself up enough, like
Mm-hmm.
arms burning, pulls herself up enough, fucking genius,
Just enough
stands
to
on
get
it
over.
to climb over the top of the cliff. And then the best part is because
Yeah.
she knows the rules, turns back around, whips it right around,
Reaches back
reaches
down.
down, grabs the dagger, and Amber has like the audacity to be like, she can't do that. She's cheating. Like, shut up.
Yeah,
No, she's the right way isn't the only way. Remember? And like,
exactly.
we live by the rules and we die by them, is what Amber says. And like, yeah, literally. No wonder her and Dane were so close. That's what Violet thinks. But like, she just again outsmarts him, quotes the Codex to her, and Amber's so pissed. She's like, "Are you literally quoting Codex to me?" And she's like, "Yeah, bitch, I am. Like, come at me."
Yeah, I am. I'm not kidding you. My
Uh,
note is literally cue the bitch Amber Mavis.
ugh. She makes me want to vomit.
Because
But this was like the
which,
delicious victory because it's like slap to your face. Like, don't come at me. You don't know what you're talking
yeah.
about. I loved it.
Well, yeah, and Zayden's just like, she's got you there. Yeah, she did
She's
it
got you,
differently, but
and
she technically
him
didn't
having
cheat.
this whole conversation, he's just staring at Violet like respond, like leaves her to be the
Mm-hmm.
one to tell her off. And I love that even more because like
Yeah.
he's obviously in power as the wing leader, and she's just like, have it, Violet, this is your victory, have it. And I'm like, yes, yes.
He believes in her, and he knows
He
that she knows what she's doing.
does.
We love it.
And
No, and
then
he backs her, so he's like, okay, you are smart as fuck. You got it.
I know. It's literally oh, such a good victory, such a good victory. And then she looks at him and his eyes flare, and I don't miss the hint of a smirk of that infuriating fear. Hold on, words are hard. Infuriatingly.
Infuriating.
Infuriatingly. Did I spell that wrong? Is that what's happening?
Infuriating.
Infuriatingly. But there's a Lee on the end. Who writes this? Is this even a word? Anyway, decadent mouth. Decadent mouth of his. It should
Mm-hmm.
be against Codex to look that good and be so ruthless. We agree. It should definitely be against Codex. No.
10 out of 10
Then
agree.
that would take out the fun. Ugh. And then the little small victory at the very end. Her whole squad makes it up the cliff. Oh, that's our girl. That's our
Thank goodness.
squad. That's our squad. I love
And the day's
them.
not over. But
The day is
that
not over.
that brings us into chapter 12, which will be the next episode.
I can't wait.
Oh
So
my
many good
gosh.
things to
We've covered
come.
so much.
This is a
I
beefy
know,
episode
and
for
we have
sure.
covered so much. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my god. And to think though, like
I
we're not that far into the book still, so not even halfway. Not even close to halfway. Maybe a quarter of the
no,
way.
it's all right. Well, I do have a quick dragon update from our episode,
Yes.
just through the chapters 7 through 11. So, what we have learned about the red scorpion tails that they are quick tempered. If you are going to approach, what is advised that you don't, but if you have to, you approach from the front and the left, or die. Literally become lunch. And there's only 3 willing to bond in this year. So it's like, wow, there's really, we already know the less dragons are bonding, and now we don't have very many like ruthless dragons either. But yeah, that's 37 fewer dragons willing to bond than there were last year. And we do learn a little bit more about the dragon's bond, that their bond can only be connected to their bonded rider. So it's not like anyone who's a rider can hear other dragons. Like you talk to who you are bonded to.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool. And it talks about with their signets, like the dragons don't choose the rider's signet, the dragons just power them. So the powerful the dragon, the more powerful the rider, all of that, it's all decided just based on the rider's personality, which is pretty cool.
I love
and
that.
we did already talk about this, but there's only 2. Yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's a good detail.
I was just going to say, yeah, that it speaks way more about the writer, and I love that as we progress with Violet.
Yeah. Absolutely.
She's badass.
And I know we already talked about it, but there's only 2 black dragons. There hasn't been a black dragon born in a century. So we know that as Coda and Terran. And, they are the smartest, the most discerning, rare. You cannot outsmart them. They're the most cunning. And, even though we haven't met him officially yet, we do know that Terran is a Morningstar tail. And he's over 100 years old. And he is given credit for winning the war during the rebellion. Like, if it weren't for him, we would have lost. So that just says something huge about him already. And then, the more we learn about him, it's just wild. And we do get a little bit more information on Sigale. She's the rarest of already rare species of blue dragons, that she's super ruthless, but also that she doesn't always follow dragon law, which she's supposed to. But she doesn't, because she has bonded a rider of a previous family member who was bonded with her. So that's a big no-no. But she's like, I don't give a shit. I'm going to do it anyway.
I'm going to do what I want.
The other black dragon is Coda. Yeah.
I was going to say, which also goes into kind of her and some of the other dragons that are leaving campus, that are doing things, these little allegiances that are already forming that we know more about later, but again, just goes back to who she is as a dragon, where her loyalties lie, and the relationship that her and Xaden have. So good. We love her.
The other black dragon, we've already talked about him, as Coda. He's the eldest of the den. He oversees everything, and that's General Melgan's dragon. But, and he's a sword tail, which is really interesting, because I try to picture their tails, and I'm like, sword tail, swordfish,
You identify the difference in these pictures.
They're the same image.
This is the same picture.
Oh, it's so great. But, we hear all about how the dragons will always protect the Vale and the hatching grounds no matter what. And, it's against the rules to really ask about a bond. The person's bond with the dragon is special, and you're not supposed to ask details about that. But Dane still kind of lets Violet into a little bit of details between him and Kath. That's how she learns about, them being able to talk to each other in their minds and all of that. But the last little bit is when Violet's going the gauntlet and she's reciting her facts. Well, she's talking about dragons, which is so funny. But, first she goes off about the feather tails, and we know that they are not very well known, because no scribe that has recorded this has ever actually stepped foot in the Vale. And so they have never seen one to actually record about, but they're known to being violent, so not suitable for bonding, which is like, okay. Big foreshadowing. Violet little Andarna thing.
These violent little things.
I know. And then she goes off about the green dragons, who are known for their keen intellect. They're the most rational, and they're perfect siege weapons, which, we'll learn a little bit more about green dragons in the next chapter, but I think that's really important piece of information that they're rational. And last but
Mm-hmm.
not least, the orange dragons. They are the most unpredictable and they're always a risk. So it's interesting when you hear what color dragon bonded which rider.
Yes.
And knowing that Dane has a red, I'm like, how did you get that?
Pussy.
You sound more like a green or maybe like no dragon at all.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess maybe he was once a different writer before Violet showed up, but I don't see it.
It's
Crybaby
just a
Dane. Like I said,
crybaby bitch.
maybe we need some of Dane's POV or some more of
Yeah.
him, but I mean, I could really care less to have more of him, but maybe that would explain some things
For
because I
sure.
got questions.
I'm
But
I'm open to it. It doesn't mean I'll like it.
that's true. I don't have to like it.
I mean, yeah,
I just need all the
it's
information right
fine.
now. It's fine. I need more information. Can we get the next 3 books in a lump sum? I'll prepay, please.
Honestly, like every single one of them right now, I
Right
want to hear it
now.
all. I want to know it all. It's so good. I'm trying to think. Let's see. Let's look at our schedule here. So the next episode, we're covering chapters 12 through 15. So it's a little bit smaller, but the chapters, they contain a
There's a
lot of
lot.
information. They are hefty.
Yes.
So there's
These are
still a
some
lot to
good
unpack.
chapters.
But we're super
There's going to be a lot.
excited.
I'm so excited for these next chapters.
Yeah.
I told you the other day when I was like, because I read and then I take my notes, but then sometimes I like to just keep
Yeah.
refreshing while I'm going through because there's just so much and I
Yeah.
get out of the world and have to get back in. So I listen to audio too. And I was listening the other day and I just like got so carried away with doing other things that I was like, oh shit, I'm in chapter 15. I need to stop now. You're like, whoa, so far. I was like, but it's so good.
I was like,
Like
yeah,
chapter
I'm
12
not there right
especially,
now.
it gets so good. Like I gotta be, and I was like, oh right, I gotta chill because we're not that far. But now I'm prepared for the next chapter, the next episode, and I'm so excited for
Yes.
12 through 15. Bum, bum, bum.
This was a beefy episode, so man, if you stuck through with us, we appreciate you guys. Please do not forget
Yes.
to subscribe to our channel, like our video, comment, tell us, if man, what color dragon do you want? What signet do you want? I think there's so many cool things that we could learn from this world, but also make sure to leave us a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We'd greatly appreciate it. And as always, follow the Instagram. We did just make a TikTok too. So if you're on the Tickety Talkie, follow us there. It's just FanTEAsy Podcast.
Yep. We appreciate you all being here and listening. And I know that it gets chaotic, but that's our brains. And if you made it through this episode, congrats to you. That's a win-win-win for all of us.
Win.
And a win-win-win. And we had a great time. And this was such a fun episode. And we're looking forward to doing all the rest of Fourth Wing.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you guys again, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.